States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everybody. First item on our agenda tonight, to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as posted and sent to the news media for 24 hours prior to the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Blandford, second by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is the council workshop from Monday, September the 23rd. I won't read that for you. That is available online if anybody would like to go out and take a look at that. Next item up is the public comment. We don't have any registered in advance. Is there any public comment this evening? Hearing none. Going once. All right, thank you. Next item, we have no old business tonight, so we will move right on to the new business. First item is the request for Franklin REC for street closure for November 30th for the light of the night event. Miss Emily Rushmere, I believe we have. Sorry.
All right, well, this year we're going to do the same thing as last year. We're going to have the trolley uptown taking people to the different stops. But this year we would like to not close down the right side of the road like we had suggested last year. It just didn't work. So we were wondering if we could just block off maybe 5 or 6 parking spaces in front of Peace Plaza. Then we would do the closings around Bandshell like we did last year and close the main street there for the parade.
All right. Anything additional?
I
You
don't
look-
think so.
Okay. So basically it's what's been done in the past with the exception of not closing half the street going around that one block.
Yeah, that just didn't work
And
last
then-
year. So we thought if we could put some cones out and just give a space so that the trolley can stop safely, then we'll just do that, so.
And he'll be all right. He's still gonna be in the traffic though, right? I mean,
Yes, yep, and it seemed to
there.
work out fine last year. People were going really slow and kind of taking it easy for him too, so working out just
Okay.
fine.
Mr. Lehman.
This is kind of a silly question, but during the fair, I'm sure there were horses or something, but they had left waste on the road. So if the mules leave waste, will someone pick it up?
His grandsons come along and help with that.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
It's Don Bosberg like
Yeah.
last year, so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Any other questions? All right, so it sounds like it's, like I said, like we've done in the past. It has never been a big issue other than that blocking the one road. but
Yeah,
that-
I was the street block last year.
Yeah, so we'll try that. So if we don't have any further discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve the requested street closing for light up the mine night for November 30th.
I move we approve.
I'll second it.
I got a motion by Mr. Davies, I got a second by Mr. Hodge. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
You're
you.
good to go. Thank you so much. Yep.
Garrett does have an update, and we were here last month or earlier in the
Okay.
month about the arches. So he
Sure.
does have an update, what we came up with for a solution with Doug too, for you, if you guys want that presented to you now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Yep, so we met with Doug out at the park, kind of ran through our ideas of what we were gonna do, so, we'll just auger out a hole, put in a quickcrete tube, put the concrete in it. And then I've got an example here, I can pass it around. It's just a bracket. It's about 6-7 inches tall. It'll go up the posts, and we'll just stick them in there, drill them in, then they drill straight down into the concrete. So we'll do that for all 20 or 24 of them, or 12 of them, sorry, 12 of them. So
That's good. And that'll get rid of the guy wires or
Yes.
whatever you want to
Yep.
call them. They're small, but, okay.
yep, they'll stand on their own hopefully, and
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
All right. Any questions on that one? All right. I think
Thank
we're
you.
good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next item up, we have a request from La Luz Centro for the street closure for the event on September 25th, 27th. And I know we talked about this on, at the workshop on Monday. I think everybody was in agreement on that. Any other further discussion on that at this point?
I just want to say, I do appreciate that we brought up the issue of blocking the alley, and they agreed that they wouldn't block the alley, and I think that's important. I don't think that's a precedence we should set, that people would be able to block the alleys for their events.
Right, right. Yeah, we've got to give them access at some point, so if we can, the better, easier the better. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to approve the requested street closures for La Luz Centro on September 27th.
So moved.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Mr. Palmer. I'm going to give Ms. Griefy the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item up, this is for the, we're submitting a Barca Bump grant application for the Hampton Vintage Light LD conversion. Mr. Dunt.
I'll have Doug.
Mr.
Update you on
Mr.
that.
Dar.
Thank you. As you guys know, maybe 25 years ago or so, the vintage lights were all put in uptown. And that was at that time with some grant dollars. Well, as times moved on, there's a potential to, we've been doing some of these on our own as the lights go out. We've been doing some LED conversions here and there, just to update those a little bit. And we thought, it'd sure be nice if we could just knock them all out in one shot here. And so basically, I believe there's I think there's roughly 60 of them out there. We have maybe about 50 left that still need that, and the cost of a project of that size is about $36,000. So we're going to be applying for $28,800 of that. We spend quite a bit of money every year on those vintage lights, and I think this will help assist with longevity, and then also replacing the globes as well, because a lot of those are getting discolored, faded. They don't look the greatest. So anyway, so we're going to go for a grant for that. And just would like to put on the grant application that the council supports that as a project.
All right.
Yeah,
Davis?
is there a 20% match, and that's what the difference is?
I believe the difference is for that, yes.
And then where is that going to come from? Is that already budgeted for?
No, we would have to
No.
look at either amending
Okay.
for the remainder, but we're also going to do some in-kind if we can at all. So
And you said new globes for all of them?
new globes and LED conversions.
Good. Thank you.
Do you know if there's any rebates through Mid-American Energy for that?
I don't. I did hit up Mid-American about 6 months ago about looking into replacing the vintage lights with maybe a vintage style that they supply, and they're kind of, from my understanding, they're kind of getting away from doing things like that a little bit more now. I don't know why that is, but I haven't talked to that was Todd Lewis.
Yeah.
There's a new guy there now, so I don't know
Thank you.
much about it.
Mr. Palmer?
I'm kind of funny on this,
Okay?
because when I hear that the city, that's a taxable entity, wants $36,000 or $34,000 or $28,000 from a grant program that also supplies, food for food pantries, gifts for a lot of fundraising things and nonprofits that don't have the ability to tax their citizens, I think that sometimes I don't like that. I think that, and they have the right to approve it or disapprove it, it's up to them anyway. But I just think, I don't go for that, because I think the Barkema grant wasn't set up to help the city bail out their lighting project. And that's just me.
Yeah, we've used the Barkema grants for other stuff, haven't
Yeah,
we?
we've,
PD and the fire station, for
yeah,
fire
we've
trucks.
received multiple Barkema grants.
The fire department, people can see that. Police department, people can see that. And I mean, that's not like they can't see the lights, but I'm just funny about that, I would like to see the Barkema grant use it for other nonprofit organizations rather than the city of Hampton. So that's just me.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve staff submitting the Barkera grant application for Hampton Vintage Light LED conversion.
I'll second.
Second, I got a motion by Mr. Hodge, second by Mr. Lamos. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item, we got the, consider the engagement letter from PFNM that we, for the financial advisement fund planning and modeling. We had discussed this at the workshop as well. Did you have anything to add for Mr. Dunk?
I would just say this is an engagement letter for them to review current debt structure, review capital improvement plan, and review funding sources, develop and prepare several financial and capital planning models, assist with the annual TIF certification, develop financial options analysis. And the associated fee is $5,000. That would be a one-year fee. If there's any more work than that, than what's anticipated within that, then the fee schedule is listed there below. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Not hearing further questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the engagement letter from PFM.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Lamos, second by Ms. Griefy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims as submitted by staff in the amount of $294,728.89.
I move we approve.
I'll
Motion by
second.
Mr. Davies, second by Mr. Blanford. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 404. This is adding chapter 52 for noise for the Hampton Municipal Code. Mr. Dunt.
Thank you. Ordinance 404 is an ordinance adding Chapter 52 noise to the Hampton Municipal Code. There's a number of definitions that I'm not going to read through that are available for the public. Table 1, I would note that these are the maximum sound levels from limited sources by receiving land use by zoning category. Residential district from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. 60 decibel is the sound limit. From 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., 50 decibels. Commercial district at all times is 65 decibels. Industrial district at all times is 75 decibels. Other than vehicle noise, which the police officers can enforce as they see necessary, the remainder of the ordinance is deemed on complaint basis. So if a neighbor has a complaint issues, then they would call the PD, and the PD would go out with their decibel meter and compare it to what the guidelines are in this ordinance. Any questions?
Yeah, I guess, I'll vote for this first reading, of course, but sometime I would like to go out and see actually if the chief or whoever's on duty can take me out, and I want to stand by a lawnmower, and I just want to see just what some sample readings are, because we can see 60 and 50 and 75 and 65, but I actually want to see what that means, and, okay, that's a lawnmower, and that's doing, you know, whatever it's doing, so I want to just sometime
Yeah.
take that out for a spin and make some noise, and I can't hear you, you know, so anyway, but, just see what, you know, what those
Yep.
numbers mean in real time.
Yep. Any other questions? So hearing that, it's sounding like we want to move forward with the first reading.
I'd move the first reading.
Rather than to do the
I'll second.
dispense. So we'll do a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 404. And that's Mr. Palmer was the motion,
And I'll second.
and Mr. Davies was the second. And this is a roll call vote. Mr. Blanford? Mr.
Aye.
Blanford?
Aye.
Mr. Griefy?
Aye.
Mr. Hodge?
Aye.
Mr. Lamos?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
And Mr. Davies?
Aye.
All right, so the first reading is approved. And we'll move forward with the next reading.
Yep.
The next, subsequent, say that word, meeting. All right. And on the agenda is the consent agenda. And this is, includes the previous meeting as drafted from the Thursday, September 5th, 2024 regular session. Schedule the next regular session for Thursday, October 10th, 2024 at 6 o'clock in City Council chambers, and approve alcohol counseling, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Licensing for Family Dollar Store, 32965. Can I entertain a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Griefy, second by, was that Mr. Lamos? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And I'm gonna take a break. We got staff reports next. Chief Morrison.
I think it'll be a short break for me tonight. I don't have a whole lot because we kind of discussed at length a lot of stuff on Monday's meeting. I will update you that we did post the position for police officer and we're taking applications. We did that last week. We still have to get it out to some other sources, but it is out there and on the city's website. We have the community tailgate tonight. They have kind of a area set up for first responders, so Captain Halsey's there showing off a car. We have the homecoming parade tomorrow, so it'll be all hands on deck for that parade. We have the noise ordinance tonight, and I'll just answer any questions if there is any.
Any questions?
Can I call you tomorrow? I got a couple things I'd like to talk about.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect. Anyone else?
No? Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Tar.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a lot going on, so I'll try to highlight a lot of it. So I had court today for 2 cases, 457 10th Avenue Northeast, which is a blighted property in the northeast quadrant there. Unfortunately, that got continued till October 31st due to city attorney conflict of interest with the defendant. 219 Second Avenue Southeast, got a guilty plea. However, the property owners have abated the nuisance. They put a new roof on their garage and made a good attempt to make and paint it. Water main project is going very well and still ahead of schedule. Street project is going well, however, it appears they may be finishing up a little bit beyond their deadline, a few days. However, they did have a change order in the middle of that kind of pushed some things back, also some delivery on some parts. So we'll work with them on that, but I still think it'll be done here within the next couple of weeks. Mapping project on the sewer side of things is going well. The water main, basically where we're at with that part of the mapping project is staff now is doing some reviewing for accuracy to make sure all that's in line. So it'll be really nice when that gets done for the staff to use. Water main treatment plant project still at a very slow snail's pace right now because they're still waiting for parts and components out there. A lot of stuff backlogged. Pool painting project, that's complete. Slide repair project is next up, and that should be done here within the next 2-3 weeks as well. There are some minor repairs that need to be done to the slides. That way we can pass inspection next year. Sorry. Stump removal project list is ready for advertising. I think we'll probably get that out for bids next week. The cemetery tree removal project. Where staff's worked a little bit on that this week too with the tree list and identification for areas that we're going to work on, and I anticipate that going out for bid in the next 2 weeks. The regular tree removal project, which is typically about 20 trees, we're still working on that tree list and maps and identification being worked on, and I also anticipate that going out for bid the next couple of weeks. Staff's been working on First Street Northwest patching up by the Aquatic Center. We were under the gun a little bit because we have the parade tomorrow night, but it will be able to go. We'll have things removed and ready for that. We do hope to get back and get a couple of more done yet next week sometime. After that, I anticipate next up tomorrow, the Mark Crawford for Crawford Engineering be here tomorrow. To look at the staking on Highway 65 for the sidewalk project. I anticipate getting started on that in the next 2 weeks as well. Initial cost estimate for the 6th Street Southwest speed study that we talked about on Monday night. One RFP came back so far, about $2,000 to $2,500 to do a study for that little segment. And I haven't heard back yet from the other RFP I sent out. I did try to get the DOT to do it for pro bono, but they do not have enough staff to do those anymore, they told me, and we're gonna have to hire a consultant. So that's what I've reached out to get some pricing. And then I'll bring those prices back to you guys here at a future workshop. We're replacing a Frisbee golf hole that was reported to me that got, it's kind of simply just rusted out beyond repair. So we have one of those that's already ordered, and as soon as we get that in, we'll get that installed with park staff, or public works staff. And then we won in court as anticipated, and now we own 25 6th Street Southwest. That's that greenhouse that is behind the car wash on the highway there. I will be working with the fire chief about a controlled burn and begin getting bids for asbestos testing and abatement. We also have a court order for a garage demo in the southwest, and I hope to get the asbestos testing done at the same time that we do that house. That way, maybe we'll get a little cheaper cost associated with that. And then hoping to get it down as soon as possible, but it's going to take some time. Be patient, please. We know there will be abatements necessary with the house because it does have slate siding, and then I'm sure the windows are going to have some caulking and things, and then we'll see what the roof looks like. But that's why we do the testing. So as soon as we can get that rolling, we'll go as quickly as we possibly can. Other than that, any questions or concerns? Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Blanford.
When they do street closures, I noticed the road, it'd be east of McDonald's, not the first one they've been working on, but the next one.
Yes.
When do they usually close those? Because that one, they didn't do any work on it. Looked like it was closed for like 2 weeks.
Right, so typically on a big project like that, where there's a lot of traffic control, they have a subcontractor, and that's all they do is throw the signs up.
Okay.
So, you're right, that didn't mean the road was closed. It was closed to through traffic, but it wasn't closed for local traffic. You
Okay.
know, they were still letting people in and out. Now, I understand that's still causing us not to be able to utilize that road for a couple weeks, but it's kind of normal, I guess, so to speak. But if something like that arises and you're getting some concerns or complaints from a citizen, let me know. And if they're not, I can talk direct to the contractor, find out, hey, can we just pull those? If guys aren't gonna be working here this week, can we at least pull those and let traffic in and out? So,
Well, I just know that, and I didn't have anybody talking, but I was just driving around and I noticed those people that live there, they must do some kind of construction business, and I know that, you know, it looks like it's better that it's kind of blocked, but
right,
it
yeah.
looked like it was kind of hard for them to come into their residence with truck and trailer and that type of stuff for those 2 weeks, so.
Sure, understood. Yeah, if we notice something like that, just let me know, and I can, direct somebody, hey, let's pull them and then put them back. So
Yep.
that's real easy.
Okay,
You
appreciate
bet.
that.
Thank you, though,
Yep.
for bringing it up.
All right. Mr. Lamos?
Along the lines of that 6th and 7th and South Federal, they're getting milled this year, right?
No,
Are we overlaying them?
no, next year.
Right.
Yep,
So they'll mill it and overlay it next year?
yep, the milling will take place next year. Right now, what they'll do with that gap in there, again, is fill it with millings and pack it in best they can. And then we're gonna have to suffer with it over the winter and have at it next year.
So can't they remove the signs on South Federal? Everything's done there.
I'll take a
Except
look
for
at
the-
it for you.
You know, that cross trench for the storm sewer, I don't know, that might need more.
They might have a patch yet to go in
More
there, you're
fill there?
thinking, maybe, I'll check into it for you.
The water main projects,
Yep,
is the contractor responsible for the sidewalks?
to put them back?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. They're doing the mapping on the sewer. Are
Yes.
they looking at the manhole covers? I noticed on North Federal, there's one that's, it seems
Right.
like it's that much higher than the rest of the street, and
right.
it's just,
I've given staff the directive, Jake, I gave him the directive earlier this summer even, that we need to start repairing some of those, adjusting those. I gave him a list of about a dozen, and now that we're starting to do the concrete work of our own staff a little bit more, I anticipate some of those getting done. But I gave him
is
quite a list this year.
will that come out of the streets or the sewer budget?
We have a storm sewer budget, and then we have sanitary budget. That'd be sanitary.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about this mobile speed sign.
Yes.
Can't we use that as a traffic study device?
I suppose if you wanted to do one in-house, you
I mean,
possibly sure could.
Instead of paying $2,000, that will keep track of the speeders, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, giving you options. We talked about a lot of options on Monday, so I'm just giving you your options.
Okay, that's all I have.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it was valuable to get the estimate, though.
Yes,
Then we know.
now you know. Yep,
Yeah.
wasn't as expensive as I thought.
Yeah,
All right.
well, we'll see.
Any other questions for Mr. Tar? Hearing none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Dunt?
I attended the Iowa League of Cities annual conference that was held in Sioux City last week, along with Patrick and Jerry and Kevin. The kickoff session was Leading with Civility. I'm going to get to that at the end. After that, I attended the annual business meeting where the league member cities vote on upcoming legislative values. The values that were determined for the next session are local control, financial stability, economic development, infrastructure, and public safety. So those are the values that the league members will lobby through the legislature to keep in mind that those are important to cities. I attended sessions on housing dilemmas cities are faced with, Grant Writing 101, presented by Bill Goldie of the League of Cities. TIF session, TIF 202 it was called, presented by John Danos from Dorsey Whitney Law Firm. Bonding versus pay-as-you-go session was presented by UMB. And on the final day, I attended a Steps to Successful Revitalization. I guess sometimes my expectations were high for some of these sessions in hopes that I'll hear a magic formula on finance issues or housing or nuisance revitalization, but that's not the case. You pick up a few nuggets, you meet people, you talk to people, network, find out what other communities are doing and how they deal with these issues. But in the end, there's no shortcuts and no magic wands. So let me back up now to the what I will call the kickoff session with Leading with Civility. It was presented by Scott Raker of the Robert D. and Billy Ray Center at Drake University. Raker pointed out that all communities have agitators who put the spotlight on the negatives of your community. These can be citizens, and they can also be elected officials. One of the main points that he was making was character and ethical leadership are what lead to civility. And with the mayor's permission, he's given me permission to show a brief 4-minute video, a video that was shown, so Pat and Jerry got to see this. But I think that it says more than I can about leading with civility.
Cowboys are on tonight.
Here?
At 9.
That's my PowerPoint.
Sounds that way. Here we go.
And our mission statement is to strengthen families by inspiring Christ-like leadership.
Hang on a second. My mirroring is not working, that's why.
There you go.
Okay, here we go.
Mutual of Omaha.
Well, a friend of mine passed away, and she was all about reconciliation, always about reaching out to people, and to unlikely people. When she passed away, I wanted to do something to honor her. And I thought, who would be the most unlikely person on the planet that I would reach out to? And it was Bob.
I'm the president and CEO of the Family Leader. And our mission statement is to strengthen families by inspiring Christ-like leadership in the home, the church, and government.
I'm the executive director at One Iowa, which is the state's largest lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender organization. I've been an activist and an advocate and sometimes an agitator in this movement for almost 30 years.
Well, Donna and I, we see the world very differently. In our view on marriage, on sexuality, and probably on a lot of other issues.
I guess you'd have to say that my impression of Bob was not only he was the opposition, he was the enemy.
I've probably made statements about her and her organization in the press. She's probably made statements about me and my organization in the press. We weren't natural allies. We weren't natural coffee buddies. And so she emailed the Family Leader and said, hey, I talked to Bob, and Bob said he'd be willing to do coffee. Let me know a good time of day. And so they shared that email with me like, is this true? I mean, is this real? And I said, yeah, it's real, but I never thought she'd follow up on it.
I never thought that he would respond.
And so we set a date to have coffee.
And that was the beginning of this amazing journey. I remember walking in just being very nervous. I had no idea what to expect, none at all.
Well, you know, the skeptic in me thought she would have an agenda, and she probably thought I might have an agenda. But as soon as we sat down, I thought, she doesn't have an agenda. She just wants to get to know who I am. And that really compelled me to say, I should want to get to know who she is.
I think when people have the courage to show you who they are, something happens. And so what surprised me about Bob was his humanity. He's an incredible dad. I also found him to be really funny, and I didn't expect that at all. But we laugh a lot.
Donna's a very good person. She's a passionate person. She has advocated for her issues tirelessly for over 3 decades. So regardless if I agree or disagree with her on the issues, I have a tremendous respect for her.
For a long time, I've been really tired of the hate and the aggression and the kind of snarkiness. We can disagree without being disagreeable. We can fight the good fight in the court of public opinion, but we don't have to hurt each other. That's, I think, the big takeaway for me. We don't have to hurt each other, because when we do that, we're hurting ourselves. We get coffee about once every couple of months.
And I think with Donna, her and I readily assessed that we have a lot of common interest. We have some common ground. The only regret in all of that is that I wasn't the one to ask her out for coffee. And she's the one who asked me out. And I'm glad she did, but I kind of feel like I should have.
What surprised me was not that he liked me. I thought, yeah, he'd like me. What surprised me was I really liked him.
It hasn't changed my beliefs. It may have changed my approach, because when we do put out a press release, when we do make a public statement, many times I think, I wonder how Donna will view this.
Here's the deal. If Bob and I can have coffee, if we can tell stories and laugh and get to know each other, if we can like each other, then I think almost anyone can find that person in their life, and maybe they can reach out their hand and invite them in.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we'll move into our council reports. Mr. Davies.
Yes, part of the claims, we paid 11 lifeguards were reimbursed $75 for their recertification training, and to receive that, they had to work at least 100 hours. And I just want to say thank you to those guards. There's a shortage of lifeguards nationwide, and I think we are set pretty well. And I think having that small incentive does help, because I just was recertified myself as a lifeguard, and it's not easy, especially at my age, but it's just not easy. So I really thank those guards and all the guards that worked at the aquatic center this past summer. Second thing, just to mention, I attended the library board meeting this last week, and that went really well. I think Susie's doing a great job. The board's doing a great job. Just very pleased with what's happening there. And then finally, I just want to give a little plug for some things coming up. The Knights of Columbus tailgate this Friday at the Catholic Church from 5 to 7, steak or hot dogs. And then the evening, like it used to be, vaudeville show is Saturday, October 5th at the Windsor, and then the Harriman Nielsen Fall Festival is the 6th of October. So hopefully you can attend those events. That's all I have, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Ballingford.
I also attended the League of Cities Conference out there. Went to a lot of the same meetings that Ron and Jerry and Pat went to. Being as it was my second time out there, I've seen a few familiar faces. One thing that I really like is the networking and meeting new people and having those conversations. They had a deal where people, reach out on social media. They'll come to meetings. Some people don't want to be around crowds, that type of stuff, and they don't have access to social media. So I noticed that one lady spoke up, and she said that, I believe she was a mayor, they had it for morning coffee. So they would do it like once a month and have individuals come in with any types of concerns. And they had other topics they were talking about. And come to find out, it wasn't anything that was any of their concerns, it was more on something else. So having that morning coffee, and a more relaxed atmosphere, I think more people would be more apt to have that conversation rather than standing up in the front of a bunch of people. I also attended the planning and zoning, trying to get familiarized with that a little bit. That way, if any of the residents have any questions, I don't have to rely on reaching out to Ron or Doug. I can kind of be able to answer their questions. So it was definitely a good few days, learned a lot of stuff, and met a lot of good people. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lemos.
I'd just like to make a comment. Coffee's at 5:30 at McDonald's. Sometimes there's some good discussion.
All right, thank you. Mr. Palmer.
All right, I too went to the League of Cities event. One thing about that video with Bob and Donna, Donna's since died, and Bob Vanderplatz gave her eulogy. That's how close they ended up being. That her family asked Bob to give the eulogy for the funeral, so that was kind of a special treat. I don't care for Bob Vanderplatz. It's going to take a lot more than coffee to get us together, but anyway, that's him. But I'm glad to see those two. It was kind of a unique situation. Went to the park, Parks and Rec, picked up a folder on grants, and as soon as I posted that, boom, got ridiculed on social media about our busted park equipment up there at Memorial Park, and so that was always nice. You get those little digs in. Anyway, then I went to the library. One of the events I went to was the library grants. You know, the cities they have there, I sat next to the mayor of a town of 300. Now, I mean, you've got all the way from population here to here. And so I went to the library one, and they had the lady who was in charge of the Iowa City Library, one of the biggest libraries in the state. Well, they're doing stuff with bookmobiles and all this stuff that we would never, a town of 4,200 isn't just going to be able to hook up the bookmobile and go out, you know, and so some of their presentations were different. The one lady was I, and I'm sure they've got a great library, but she should delegate some stuff. The one I guess I identified the most with was Cherokee because their population is close to Hampton. And so and they host a worldwide board gaming event. So they have a whole bottom floor like our children's library. And usually every year they draw over 250 people playing Monopoly or Sorry or Life or whatever worldwide. It's kind of cool. And I says, what does your city and county give your library? He says, the county in Cherokee County gives us $18,000 and the city gives us $241,000. Oh, wow. So I'm going to meet with Susie there probably next week and give her, I've got a business card from the lady who had the grant program. And also, I think it'd be valuable to find out what they're doing in Cherokee. And if Susie and maybe a board member or two can drive to Cherokee and see what they're doing over there, it's so great. That'd be fantastic. Went to some bonding versus pay-as-you-go. A lot of that was above my pay grade. Went to city meeting decorum. Some of those meetings got pretty wild, but I thought, you know, we've had some meetings here that's like, well, hold my sippy cup. We're going to have a whale of a meeting tonight. So, but again, it was about decorum, de-escalation, and some techniques with that. Something that you sit and you talk to the people from other communities, and you kind of go around the table and find out, you know, hey, what are you proud of in your town? What are you proud of in your town? And right now, I guess I had to say, when I was asked the question, hey, what's new in Hampton? What are you proud of? And I said, I said, over the last month, maybe month and a half, I said, our town was thrust into the national spotlight over one idiot in town. And I said, I'm the most proud of our Hampton Police Department. I said, they nailed the alleged person who allegedly did all this. I said, over Labor Day weekend, they got a couple of bozos out who were checking for open cars. I said, they caught them right away. I said, I don't see the backpack mafia out as much. I said, I think they're doing a great job, and they all appreciate that. And it was also a great time to meet up with some new friends, old friends, and what have you. So I thought it was pretty valuable, good time. Finally, my last thing, I just want to tell the soccer parents, just be adults out there. We need to take care of the equipment, watch your kids, and watch your mouths, and just be adults out there. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Ms. Griffey.
Thanks. I attended our promotion committee meeting with the chamber, and we have been discussing and planning our first annual Scarecrow contest is countywide for residents and businesses. The deadline to send a picture of your scarecrow into the chamber website is the 30th, and voting begins online on the October 1st. And I hope to see a lot of people joining in. We are also planning the 19th year of the Halloween Howl. It's been growing every year. We started out with kids trick-or-treating up and down Main Street with the businesses, and also the Windsor Theater having a haunted house. And last year we added trunk or treat. This year we're adding a chili cook-off in Peace Plaza and photo ops with Jack Skellington and Sally in the ceramic studio. And then we've also turned our attention to planning the wine walk as well. So lots going on this fall in Hampton, and that's exciting. And like Ron and Kevin and Pat, I went to the League of City Conference too. One of the things I noticed, one of the main topics, the main theme going through there is civility. How not to get shouted at council meetings, how to respond, how to de-escalate. And that's kind of sad. It made me sad that that was kind of the general theme through many of the classes. I think we do pretty darn good here, even though we do have disagreements among each other. We're able to do it civilly and still remain friends and go forward. And I really appreciate that. One of my favorite classes was building resilient rural communities, and they emphasized on focusing on quality of life in your community rather than the quantity of people in your community. And I think that's a great direction to go, and I think we do a good job with that as well, as far as with our parks. And thank you. Our equipment at Memorial Park is repaired. And then also, as far as taking care of the nuisance issues and things like that, we are working on quality of life in Hampton, and I think that's a great goal. And I know Mark's not here, but thank you, Doug. You helped too, catching the bad guy that hit my car. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Mr. Hodge.
I had no report.
No report. All right, back to me. One item I want to bring up this evening, we were planning on to set the trick-or-treat night of Thursday, October 35th, 31st, from 5 to 7 p.m. for this year. The next item that I brought here, and I did a little research on, and it was brought to me from somebody that did go to the League of Cities. I was not able to attend. I participated in a funeral of a very dear friend, so I stayed back in town this time. But she sent me a deal that the city of Urbandale uses when before each of their city council meetings, and it talks about Urbandale being a leader in this character counts program that has been around since 1992. And basically what that does is focus on bringing students, building their character, bring their social, emotional up, and their their school stuff, their academic, there we go, thank you. There's 3 or 6 pillars that they use to measure this. One is trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and good citizenship. Got it. And I think I would think about adding one item to that, and I would really kind of start putting together something that we want to read at our council meetings, because just as a reminder to people to be nice. That's where it all boils down to, is be nice. But the one I think I would add was being really good, professionalism. As elected officials, we should be held to a higher standard, not just here, before the meeting, after the meeting, during the meeting, and every day while we're in the city, representing our city, because that's what we do. So we'll get it on one of our workshops in the near future, and we'll come up with our own little deal. And I think that's very important to just remind people of that, especially in today's world, the way it's going. So, and thank you, Jerry, for forwarding that to me. I appreciate that. And the only other item I have is Charlene Jansen gave us a nice card, a thank you card. You guys can pass it around and read it, for the work that we gave help with the city park, doing the garden and getting that going so that it just really looks really nice up there. So she's very, very appreciative of it, and thanked us, all of us, the city, the council, and everybody else. So, and that's all I got. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Griefy. Second by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.